Reddit by Reddit recap. What is the most humiliating thing your parents found you doing? I'll set the bar pretty high. When I was young, me and my female friends used to play doctor, which looking back involved some pretty disturbing things for 5-year-old girls to be doing. Once we were having a sleepover and my mum walked into me stark naked with 3 fully clothed other girls around me inserting small paint brushes into my vagina. Still to this day I have no idea what she thought. Holy shit. The rumors about what happens at girls' slumber parties are true. If they start lezzing out, just keep cool, butters. Countless times. Jacking it. Parents just got to the point they stopped opening doors. Period. However, my brother was caught jerking it on the family computer in the living room to go porn at like 3:30 in the afternoon. Expert mode. Hard mode. When I was 6 years old, my mother used to babysit my neighbor Annie. Annie was a very artistic girl. She loved to color and draw everything she saw. One day, I was playing Star Fox 64 on my Nintendo 64 and Annie was watching. Of course. Being too absorbed in the game, I never turned around to see her greatest work of art. My mom walks in the room to check on us and does a gasp to end all gasps. Annie had made a drawing of a triangular looking ship with a circle around it. It was Star Fox doing a barrel roll. Except she made it with a load of diarrhea she scooped out of her pants. When I was about 9 or 10, I had just bought some Nickelodeon GAC and was quite excited about it. I played and played and played. As a rather unusual child, the remarkably brilliant idea came to put the GAC on my penis. It was gooey and satisfying. My mother walked in to see me laying on my bed with the GAC container empty and an incriminating look on my face. She asked, "The GAC is in your pants, isn't it?" I shamefully nodded my head. She slowly closed the door and never spoke of it again. TL. Dr. GAC penis. I love how she just knew. Maybe he's put all sorts of shit down his pants before. The watermelon's in your pants, isn't it? The cat's in your pants, isn't it? She's in your pants, isn't she? Was watching Police Academy when I was about 8. There is a scene at a beach party where there are a few naked breasts on show. My mum walks in to catch me licking the TV screen where the bare breasts were. This is much better than the masturbation stories. More primal. Especially when you consider the nice tingly buzz he could have gotten from a CRT screen that had been running for a few hours. Not me, but my 15-year-old sister. I picked her up from some place one day and we got talking about dong. As in Richard, who was someone who lives near us. She couldn't figure out how Richard could be shortened to dong and she thought it was funny. I told that if she thinks that's bad she should know what the short version of Sarah is. I told her it was done. She had a hard time believing it. I texted my brother to get him in on it and long story short we had convinced her that dunt was short for Sarah. Anyway. Nothing comes of this for weeks until she comes home from school one day in a bad mood. She had got after school detention for a week. We asked her why and she says they had to do a presentation in class. Her and her friends Aoife and Sarah. Sarah had passed on the speaking part to my sister and she had said thanks dunt and she got detention for swearing. She had to try and explain that she was stupid gullible enough to believe me that dunt was to Sarah what dong is to Richard. She had also told her friends about this and they also believed her. At least my sister took some convincing. I worry about her sometimes. This would go unnoticed in Australia. Fangas a dub. Cheers. Dunt. Regular ordinary primary school conversation. I don't know why, but I asked my mum, why does my willy get hard when I see a pretty girl? A kid I babysat proceeded to pull his pants off and proudly proclaim, "Look, Brock and Phoenix. When I touch it, it gets hard." Why does it do that? He was 4ish? Probably still 3, about to turn 4. I don't remember. I just told him he shouldn't do that and to ask his mommy or daddy when they got back. I gave them a heads up. They gave me an extra $10. I thought he named his penis a Brock and Phoenix before I saw your username. Sorry. In the 8th grade, My friends and I had a bunch of videos of ourselves doing stupid things. On one of them, I figured out that I could lay on the ground, roll backwards, and have my knees touch the ground behind my ears. My dad was looking through the camera for family videos when he found this one. He looked at me and said, "I know what you were trying to do." I was baffled. "What are you talking about?" "You were trying to suck your own penis." "That really wasn't why." "What?" "No." I said exactly like Mark Wahlberg in The Happening because I realized that my dad had found the best explanation for what was going on screen and I had no way to convince him otherwise. Well, she never did find out. But one time I was furiously masturbating at around the age of 14. You know, the days where you'd rub it out for an hour, teetering on the edge. Anyway, I decided that this was the home run and I'd finally finish the session. Right as I get that blissful, warm clarity just before orgasm, in walks mum with the laundry, chatting away about some irrelevant ducking story. Pants are down. The speakers are quietly on. Porn in full screen. Needless to say, that 1 second I had to react seemed to last forever. What do I do first? Speakers off? Screen off? Pants up? Tissues to catch the load? I scooted my chair under the table, solving the pants down issue for the moment, and I quickly tabbed out to a YouTube video I had prepared for post-bat entertainment and hit play, effectively drowning out the porn. Happy ending, you say? No. For the next 15 seconds I had the most intense, throbbing orgasm, shooting load after load all over myself, all the while trying to hold a conversation and fake interest in another one of my mum's work stories. I'd love to say she buzzkilled my orgasm, but it was still awesome, and that might be the most disturbing part. I had a deep, mind-blowing orgasm to my mum's voice. TL. Doctor had an intense throbbing orgasm mid-conversation with my mum, secretly shooting loads all over myself under the table. This is very interesting. You know, the days where you'd rub it out for an hour, teetering on the edge. Those days should really never stop. When I was 41, I went to visit my parents and had to take a shit. For some reason, when I sat on the familiar family throne, I had the urge to jack it like a teenager. I heard a sound above and just briefly caught a glimpse of my 70+ dad's face disappearing from the skylight he was resealing. TL. DR. Jack-off tales get worse with age. This is brilliant. Your dad probably thought he had escaped catching you in situations, sparing you both the humiliation. Then this happened. At 41. This is the one. There's a mysterious beauty to it as well. I can't put my finger on the nostalgic memories of discovery in pubescence triggered by his childhood toilet. The fleeting glimpse of an ever-judgmental father who reminds him of his shame literally and figuratively from above. The religious connotations are there. Another relic of youth. This would be perfect for a Louis episode. This was when I was around 8 years old. I went to bed, and I'd always had the habit of going to the toilet in my sleep. Half sleepwalking to the toilet, taking a shit piss, and moving back to bed with the very vaguest knowledge of what happened the next morning one night. I did so as usual. I got up, went to the toilet, sat down and started my business. For some reason, my mother came in after me and started shaking me. I had no idea why, so I just kept going. I had to shit. Yeah, no? She then started pushing me towards a seat and was encouraging me to shit on the seat. Confused and half asleep, I did so. What the duck? It's her problem getting fesses off the chair. Turns out I never originally made it to the toilet. Instead I took a shit in the middle of the carpeted hallway. She was actually trying to guide me to the toilet. Not the most dignified moment of my life. Jerking off into a empty 2-liter bottle in the kitchen. 14 years old and had a $50 bet that I could fill it in a year. And? Did you? Google calculator. 2 liters equals 405.76872 US teaspoons. Average cumshot. 1 stroke 2 teaspoon equals to about 812 cumshots distributed throughout the year. 2 cumshots daily. Perfectly doable. When I was about 5 or 6, I was at a friend's house for the weekend, and for some reason I got naked and jumped up and down on his parents' bed. My friend takes this camera, which he says has no film in it, and takes loads of pictures with the flash, pretending it's some weird kind of photo shoot. Seriously, ogged we. Anyway, as it turns out, the camera did have film in it, and they didn't realize until the dad took it to get developed and got asked some very serious questions by the cops. Yeah. Didn't go to that friend's house anymore after that. Was your friend 30 and living with his parents? He was making art. My story, but my friend has a pretty embarrassing story. It was about middle school and he thought he was home alone. He had just taken a shower and for some random reason had a boner. He was a really weird kid, and just for the heck of it he thought it would be funny to walk around with a clothes hanger dangling from his erection. As he is walking around the house like this, it turns out his dad was home and walks around the corner, so they are both staring at each other. His dad doesn't say a word, and all that he can get out of his mouth is, "I didn't think anyone was home." I don't think they ever once discussed it. Imgur.com link. Ronaldo. Conflicted. Are you still talking to your brother's ass? Or was it a one-time thing? Haha, I'm proud to say it was just a one-time thing. How did you decide who the microphone was and who the singer was? My boyfriend told me the most hilarious story the other day. When he was a teenager, he was hypersexual. Like many teenage boys and girls, I suppose. Anyway, he used to get pleasure from unusual tactile sensations, like lying naked in grass and things. One day he was in his family games room, and he decided to explore some of the sensory offerings in there. He took a cushion from the couch and put his dong in it. Clearly this felt nice, because he mounted the cushion against the side of the pool table and started to have his way with it. All of a sudden his mother comes in the door, which is on the opposite side of the pool table. She asks what he's doing in there. He tells her nothing, and so she starts to have a deep and meaningful with him about how he's feeling about life and whether or not he's unhappy. The whole time he has to stay there pressed up against the pool table with his coke in the pillow until she finishes the conversation and leaves the room. Oh thanks sweetie. I've been meaning to fluff those pillows. I think the pillow was fluffing him. Masturbating. To Princess Jasmine from Aladdin. There. I said it. Ahuwa only you a world. Don't you dare close your eyes. My dad walked in on me squatting over the business end of a hairdryer. I'd not long got out the shower and wanted to blast my gooch with warms. So there I was, naked, with my back to my bedroom door, hovering over the hairdryer. I didn't hear dad walk in due to the hairdryer. He just yelled busted and walked out. Fortunately haven't had anything horribly humiliating happen to me, but I do have a lovely story about my sister that embarrasses the heck out of her whenever it's told. When she was about 6 years old, she had a gigantic crush on Aaron Carter. She named this body pillow we had in the house after him and said it was her boyfriend. One day she heard me and a friend talking about sex. God. How did I know what that was at 9 years old? And asked what it was. We told her it's when you lay down on the person you love and hump them, though I probably didn't use the word hump. One day my mom and I walked into her room where she's furiously humping Aaron Carter. Mom gets this gigantic look of shock on her face and asks what she's doing, and my sister replies, having sex with my boyfriend. My poor sister. I will never let her forget that one. Suddenly I remember being dared to hump a television and walk around my parents' party making broad wanking gestures before I was old enough to know what it meant. Lordy. The shit parent must witness that you don't remember doing. Childhood is a lot like being drunk. You don't remember most of it, and other people remind you of the shit you did. Best comment of the day. That almost caught story is very familiar to one that I could share. So I was around 14 and had basically just gotten into stimulating myself. It was pretty early in the morning, on a vacation. Everyone else was still going off somewhere, and my mom usually didn't come into my room around this time to say goodbye, as I would probably be asleep. So everyone was gone except my mom. In the middle of beating it out to some porn, I hear someone walking towards my door, so I start closing my web browser and pulling up my pants. Voila, successfully hidden. or so I thought. As my mom walked into my room to hug me before she left, I noticed additional windows popping up, and I closed them in a panic. While mom was watching, nothing had loaded, which I count as a blessing. She definitely noticed me being panicked, but seemed clueless as to why. So she raised an eyebrow, hugged me, and simply said goodbye. Her face was no different to her usual face, so I still wonder to this day if she figured it out and just hid it really well, or if she's as clueless as everyone in my family thinks she is. I will never know, and it's better that way.